On that breaking news from the NFL, the owners have voted and spoken to approve the new hybrid kickoff rule. That's the latest from our NFL insider Jonathan Jones today. Reports that 3 teams actually voted against it: the Raiders, Packers, and the Niners. The new kickoff resembles the XFL format. If you've seen that before, the kick will still come from the 35-yard line, but the other 10 players will line up on the opponent's 40. The receiving team will have at least 7 in the nearby setup zone, with the max of 2 returners at a landing zone between the goal line and the 20. To break this down a little further, Jonathan Jones, of course, reporting that news today. And JJ, for those at home, what does this mean? What does it look like? What have you heard about this?
Okay, so what it means, Brandon, is we've had a kickoff that was a dead ceremonial play. Last year, the NFL had about a 22% return rate on kickoffs. It was the lowest in modern NFL history. And so they said, okay, we got to get rid of this fair catch rule. We have to, reintroduce kickoff returns into the game. Now, we're not going to see the old kickoff where everybody runs down and collides, and then you have a number of injuries. The injury rate was far too high for the NFL, and so they had to change that in some way. And we're talking about all sorts of injuries, but certainly head injuries, concussions. Those were too high. The NFL didn't want to see that anymore. But they did want to have the kickoff mean something. Remember, in the Super Bowl, we had 13 kickoffs. We had 13 touchbacks. In fact, 12 of them went out of the back of the end zone. So why didn't we just put the ball at the 25-yard line and tell the Chiefs and 49ers to go ahead and play ball? So this is what this kickoff is. You're going to sort of have a group of, let's call it, 18 people. You're going to have the kicker who kicks off, and he's going to loop it over that group of 18. And then there's going to be 1 or 2 returners back there inside the 20 who have to return the ball if it's going to land from the goal line to the 20-yard line. And so until that returner then catches the ball, no one can move. And once he catches the ball, then we're going to see that sort of kick team go at the receiving team from about 5 yards apart, and now we're going to see some kickoffs. It's going to introduce a lot of strategy into the game, things that NFL coaches haven't really had to think of. We're going to see different rosters around the NFL, different sorts of body types on these return teams. There's so much to figure out here as the NFL introduces this new kickoff, a 1-year trial, but a new kickoff into the NFL.
Of course, there's 3 teams that didn't agree with it: the Raiders, Packers, and Niners, as you reported there. I'm curious, what were some of the sentiment you got from them, the reason why they were kind of opposed with this new implement with the kickoff?
Yeah, don't know why they specifically opposed it. They're all still in the session right now. However, I can tell you that generally speaking, there were a number of teams who were not gung-ho about this kickoff. It is a radical change. The NFL does not do radical change. They do drip-by-drip change. And so to do this, to take from the XFL, that is drastic for the NFL to do. And so I kept hearing from coaches and GMs and folks attached with teams saying, unintended consequences of this new rule. What's it going to mean? Like, that can't be the reason that you never want to institute change, because of what you don't know. Let's go out and figure out what we don't know. And so that was part of some of the thinking. Another part of the thinking was, we don't want this to be too gimmicky, that it looks kind of silly, it looks a little funny. I don't know if that was what those 3 teams or any of those 3 teams were thinking, but certainly there was some resistance this week. And I know that the NFL, Roger Goodell, very much behind this proposal. They were whipping up the votes all week here in Orlando, making sure that when it did get to a vote, because they could have voted on this yesterday, the NFL wasn't confident that they had 24 of the 32 votes. They kept working at it last night, and then, of course, got 29 of the votes in order to make this rule pass.
So we will see what it looks like the first time we'll get to see it, JJ, August 1st with the Hall of Fame game there. As always, Jonathan Jones there at the owners' meetings there in Orlando. Appreciate it there on that breaking news with the new format for the kickoff. Coming to the NFL, very interesting to see. We have 2 new rules now in place when it comes to player safety: the hip drop rule, and now the new format, that hybrid kickoff. I guarantee you it'll be something that the Pick Six will talk about. Dial in and give them a listen.